With plane ticket prices skyrocketing, it is real tempting to be lured by those cheap plane tickets offered by budget airlines like Spirit, Frontier, Allegiant, and such. But what do you need to know before you book that cheap airline ticket? And what can you really expect when you fly on a budget airline? Hey y'all, and welcome. If you're new here, I'm Christi, the Gen X Gypsy, helping you to travel better so you can focus on creating unforgettable memories. And boy howdy, is it getting expensive to create those memories. Between fuel prices and airline employee shortages causing limited flights, it's getting really expensive. So if you're anything like me, you've probably been looking at ways to cut costs, like booking on budget airlines. If you've been following my channel for any period of time, you'll know that I had my first experience on a budget airline last fall when we flew to Puerto Rico. I did a whole video about the experience, and if you haven't had a chance to check that video out yet, I will have it linked in the description below. But if you've never flown a budget, there are some things these airlines do differently that you need to know before you go. First, these airlines are a la carte, which means you're going to be paying for everything individually above and beyond the base ticket price. If you want to bring a carry-on bag or you want to check a bag, you'll be paying for those separately. If you want to choose your seat before the travel day, you'll have to pay for that. And if you want to be one of the first to board the plane, you got it. You'll be paying for that separately too. Something you should do when you are looking at those cheap prices is to go to the airline's website and check out what they charge for each amenity that you might want to use. Then add those in to the base ticket price and then use that total to compare to the ticket prices for the major airlines to see if you are still getting a deal. Second, the only baggage that is allowed in that base ticket price is a personal item bag, which is usually a purse or a small backpack. And I have found that with most budget airlines, the sizes of those personal items are smaller than what is allowed on the major airlines. If you did not know, there is no standardization of size for baggage for each airline. Every airline gets to determine on its own what sizes it's going to allow for the three different levels: personal bag, carry-on, or checked baggage. So you are going to want to check the budget airlines website and see what size bags they allow. I have also noticed that these budget airlines tend to be a little more strict on the size of carry-on and personal items that you can take on the plane, meaning they will check the size of your bag when you are boarding, unlike most major airlines. Third, as of this year, most budget airlines have lowered their weight allowance for checked bags from 50 pounds to 40 pounds, meaning if you get up to the counter and you have a bag that weighs over 40 pounds, you could be looking at an additional cost of $50 to $75, which is probably more than an additional suitcase would have cost. Most of the major airlines are still allowing 50 pounds, but there is some talk about lowering that as well. The reasoning behind this is because the less weight that the plane is carrying, then the less fuel that they will use. These low baggage weights are one of the reasons that Frontier can use the slogan, "America's Greenest Airline." On most budget airlines, the seats do not recline, or there's limited number of seats that recline. Again, in order to save on those fuel costs, they've built these planes out with slimmer and lighter weight seats, which means a lot less functionality. And it also means you will not find entertainment systems on these budget airlines. So there's no movies to watch, no music to listen to, and no games to play unless you bring them yourself. And talking about bringing it with you, unless you want to pay airline prices for food, you're going to want to bring some snacks. The only thing free on a budget airline is the tap water. There are no free sodas, coffee, pretzels, or those yummy biscotti cookies. They do have alcoholic beverages and regular beverages and a few snacks available for purchase, but you're going to be paying $3 for a soda or a cup of coffee and pretty much about the same for a small can of Pringles or Chex Mix. Most of the budget airlines are going to offer you an opportunity to purchase a bundle of amenities at the time that you are buying your tickets. These can be like a full service option, which would include a checked bag, a carry-on bag, and seat selection at the time of purchase. Or a more abbreviated option might be buying a carry-on bag and getting seat selection. It is less expensive to purchase these amenities in the bundles than it would be to buy each amenity individually. In addition, at least with Frontier, if you buy one of the bundles, you'll be put into a zone that gets you onto the plane first. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. It is important. If you choose not to purchase a bundle at the time that you are buying your ticket, but later decide when you are checking in for the flight 24 hours ahead of time that you do want to add on a carry-on bag or a checked bag, it will probably cost you about $25 to $75 more than if you had purchased that bundle. It's a great way to save some money. And talking about boarding first, Frontier has instituted a new system that we were unaware of until we flew for our road trip in the desert in the spring. And that is that they have divided into two zones. Zone 1 is for all of the people who have bought the bundles and have paid to select their seat and bring a carry-on on. And that zone gets to board the plane first. The zone 2 are all the people who have not paid for the extra amenities and they board second. It is an extremely important differentiation because almost everybody boarding those planes is bringing a carry-on bag, and you want to be one of the first people on the plane because otherwise they're going to run out of overhead bin compartment space pretty quickly. We didn't realize that on our first leg of our flight to the desert. I ended up having to put my carry-on bag 3 rows behind me, which was a huge pain when we were getting off of the plane in Orlando. If you are going to fly Frontier, I would encourage you, if you have paid for one of those bundles, when you get to the airport and they're getting ready to board, I would get in that zone 1 line as soon as you can so that you make sure you have room for your carry-on in that overhead bin. If you're looking for more advice on how to travel with carry-on baggage only, check out this video next. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you want more travel inspiration, tips, and advice. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.